Hello, this is Joel Klepak. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I'd like to share with you something I like to call Fishbowl Mindfulness. We often live caught up in our experiences, knocked around by strong feelings, intrusive thoughts, body sensations. The goal of Fishbowl Mindfulness is to increase your awareness of what is happening in the moment and gain access to your wisdom, your insight, and your values that often only show up after the fact. Wouldn't it be nice if we could get them to show up before the event actually happens? So what kinds of situations might fishbowl mindfulness be useful in? Well, it can be useful in situations that seem to be repeating in your life and not going how you'd like them to. It can be useful in moments that feel high stakes, where you really want to be sure that they go well. It can be used when you're anticipating going into the kind of situation that has been difficult for you in the past, so it can be a way to prepare. It can be useful when strong emotion is present. It can also be useful in situations that you think you might be impulsive in or regret later. So it can be used after the fact, in the situation, and beforehand. Okay, so I'd like to, when we think about our experience, there are several things that we want to be mindful to. And the first of these is what we call body sensations. And that is exactly what you think of when you hear body sensations. So what is happening inside your body? And that might be noticing what shows up in your head, in your chest, in your face, in your gut, in your hands. So name for yourself those body sensations. And I would encourage you, as we go through this, if you have a situation that you want to work on, go ahead and think of each of these steps as we do it. So I like to represent these body sensations as a fish. So here is my body sensation fish. Okay, and this is a bottom feeding fish that, just like a bottom feeding fish, our body is one of the first warning signs of things happening that our body would really like us to pay attention to. We take in 11 million bits of sensory data every moment. And when our body feels like there's something important enough to pay attention to, it gives us a feeling. So body sensations are connected with feelings, in fact. The body sensations help us to know when there's some kind of danger. And so body sensations are the first sign that we should pay attention to something. So if we can get in tune with what's happening in our body while my face is getting red, there's steam coming out of my ears, my heart is beating out of my chest, it's a good first thing to pay attention to. Oh, something's going on here that I should pay a little closer attention to. So we have our body sensations here. Okay, so those body sensations are leading us to pay attention to feelings. So our body collects all this data, 11 million bits of sensory data every moment, and issues warning signals in the form of feelings. And feelings are just information about needs or values that are feeling threatened to our system. So right now, think about those feelings that might feel threatened in your situation. So here's my feeling fish. So what feelings, mad, sad, glad, scared, surprised, are showing up for you in this situation? Okay. And if you're struggling to name those feelings, go back to the body sensations. What might those body sensations be indicating about our feelings? Often when we're angry, we get more feelings in our hands, in our feet, in our legs. There's a fight or flight response to run or to fight. Often with anxiety, we get stuff in our chest, in our heart, those kind of things. When we're sad, a lot of times it shows up in our gut. So what are those feelings that are connected with your experience? And the third piece is what we call thoughts. But really what we're talking about are these things that masquerade as rational thoughts. But we all know, especially after the fact, or if a friend told us, that it's not really rational. It's not the kind of thing that helps us do well in school. But they show up as if they make perfect sense. An example would be, I'm such an idiot. It really has more to do with maybe being anxious about being competent enough than it has to do with logically how I compare on intelligence with the rest of the humans on the planet. So it's really more of an emotion thought. But these emotion thoughts are often repetitive, they're often critical and judgmental, and they're also giving us information about our feeling, or about our needs or values feeling threatened. So it's important to pay attention to these. And these critical thoughts can really be draining. So here's my thought fish. So what are those thoughts that are especially sticky thoughts, repetitive thoughts? They won't go away. They're often critical, maybe self-critical or critical of others. They may be demeaning. But you know them. And if a friend were to tell you that thought, it would be pretty clear that it was a terrible thing for them to say to themselves, but somehow when we're in our own experience, it's really hard to recognize that. So what are those thoughts that are just repeating and repeating and repeating for you? Okay, so we have body sensations, we have feelings, and we have these thoughts, or these thought emotions. Okay, so the fourth piece here is your environment. What's happening in your environment? Are you in a place that tends to ramp up your anxiety? Are you in a place that's depressing? Are you in a place that triggers some things that have happened for you in the past that are difficult for you now? So your environment matters. You know, when you go home and all of a sudden you're with people that may have been hurtful to you, there's important information there. If your heart's beating harder because you're in a situation that might feel dangerous or might feel threatening to you, it's an important piece to pay attention to. So noticing our environment, what are those social, environmental situations going on? You know, if you're in a physical place that feels dangerous, pay attention to that. It'll show up in your body as well, but just knowing that the environment is going to affect you. Sometimes for ourselves, we're not aware of it, but if we told a friend, they would say, of course you're feeling nervous when you are in whatever place. Okay? So these are four things that we often get caught up in our experience. We're often stuck either in the effects of our environment, we're stuck in these body sensations that we're just in and we don't really know what's going on, stuck in these critical, judgmental thoughts, stuck in these intense feelings of anger, sadness, anxiety, those kind of things. And so Fishbowl Mindfulness, first of all, is about raising up above the fishbowl. Okay, so this is a very normal process to be in the fishbowl. we can't really hope to never be in the fishbowl, but recognizing that the stuff happening internally is just information that we can be aware of, be attentive to, and then respond to. And so what I want to do is now raise up above the fishbowl and kind of see these four things from above. And once we can kind of gain some of that perspective, all of a sudden we have more choice about what to do in a particular situation. So this next move is a very big step. It is recognizing that we've been in the fishbowl, recognizing that we've been in our feelings, thoughts, body sensations, or environment, and get to a position where we can observe them. I call this getting above the fishbowl. So we have all this stuff fighting within us, and how can we get above it? And part of that is by naming these things. So naming your body sensation, name the feelings, name the thoughts, name your environment. Okay? So one of the keys to this is not just to observe it critically, but learn how to observe it as a child would look into a fish tank. So think about what it was like to watch a 6-7-year-old child look into a fish tank. No judgment, no condemnation, just simply observing the fish with enjoyment, with pleasure. Okay, so it's being in a posture of non-judgmental awareness, observing what's there without criticizing it or judging it, just being present to it. Rather than being in it, you're noticing it, you're observing it. As a child might look at fish in a fish tank. Okay, I like to think of this as being on the observation deck. You're just watching, you're just noticing. So thinking about your situation, see if you can't just be in a position of being gentle and warm with your body sensations, feelings, thoughts, and environment. What is there? Just notice it, just recognize it without judging it or criticizing it. Just be present to it, observing it. Okay? Just be present to it. Okay? So non-judgmental observation. Okay. So once we can get up there to the observation deck to notice our feelings, thoughts, body sensations, and environment, and get up above it to a place where we can just notice it, we can observe it. I can think of a situation where someone is tailgating me. All of a sudden, I start feeling tense. What's going on? I'm feeling tension in my body. I'm feeling a little angry, irritable. Maybe having a thought, oh my gosh, what an idiot. Who would feel like they got to be in such a hurry, they got to tailgate me. The environment is that I'm in a car. And there's some level of danger of driving. And so as I notice all these things, okay, now I see what's happening. My body, my feelings are giving me information about my situation and what I want to do with it. Okay. So once we get up here to this non-judgmental place of observing, there's several important things to begin to observe. The first one is what I call needs or values. Now, values are future-oriented, what I want to be and do in the world. They're kind of these things that draw us to become fully human, fully alive. And our needs are really things that are values in the present moment. So what are your values or your needs related to this situation? When I'm driving in my car, my value or my need is safety. I just want safety. And that's what all those body sensations and feelings were about. We're about safety. So every feeling, every body sensation, every critical thought is really trying to help us be aware of some value or need that's feeling threatened. Okay. All right, so what needs or values are connected with this particular situation? And maybe it's a situation with a relationship you have. And maybe when this person says or does this thing, it feels like it threatens your relationship, threatens your maybe intimacy or connection, your desire for peace and harmony in connection with them. Well, what are your values at stake here? Someone struggling with maybe addictive behaviors or things like that. So if you're in a position where you're trying to change some behavior or habit, what are your values relating to that behavior? So you might notice the cravings in your body, you might notice the feelings, agitation, irritation related to that craving. And as you can get above it, you can notice, oh, okay, yeah, I'm feeling like this craving for this thing, I'm feeling agitated, man, it would feel nice to have some comfort in this particular way. Okay, just notice it, name it, recognize it, and then from above it, then you can connect with your values. So what is it like me to do? What is it that I want to do? What is it that I want to be in the world? And how can I live out of that rather than live out of this need? Or live out of this feeling or this craving? But also there's probably that craving is maybe asking you for some peace, for some calm, for some relaxation. So listening to that and recognizing that even if I choose a different behavior, I'm still needing that peace and that calm. I'm still needing something else to bring me relaxation. So connecting with that need or that value also helps you be able to think of other ways to get it met. When you're just in that craving, it feels like there's only one way to meet this need. Okay? So what are those needs or values in play in this situation? Okay? The next piece that you can get from the observation deck, the non-judgmental curiosity and warmth towards your own internal experience, is what I would call intuition. Have you been in this situation before? How did it go? Were there times when you were in this situation and it went better and you had less regrets? Was there a time when it went worse and you had more regrets? What is your intuition saying about this situation and what you should do? What would be helpful to you to do? What would help you be more in line with your values and meeting your needs? Okay? So we have values and needs. We have intuition. And also with the intuition, often we have a gut feeling about things that we may or may not know exactly what's right, but it's information to consider. And if you've had trauma in your life, sometimes your alarm bells go off sooner than if those events had not happened to you. But that does not mean that that information, that warning, is to be totally disregarded. There is still a need for safety that needs to be attended to. Okay, so name what your intuition might be, what might be offering you related to this situation. Okay? So then next is your wisdom. It's amazing how if you were to have a friend of yours tell you about the same situation, the same kind of feelings and turmoil, what amazing wisdom you would have for your friend. I bet you have had friends tell you, wow, you really are wise. You really have great advice. Okay? So by being in the observation deck and noticing your feelings, your thoughts, your body sensations, your environment, you're accessing this part of you that actually is that wise friend for others, but now you get to be that wise person for yourself, for your own benefit. So this is another key part. So what does your wisdom say about these kinds of situations? What would be most useful for you in this situation? So in the observation deck, we have our values and needs. We have our intuition, our wisdom. And there's a fourth one that we can access in this place of the observation deck where we notice our internal experience. And this last one is what I call our wise guides. So who are those coaches, those teachers, family members, grandparents, just about anyone who has been a wise guide for you? They gave you the perspective that you needed. They saw the big picture. They saw the best in us. They saw what we could do even when we could not see it. So I bet if you called to mind whoever those people were for you, and they may not even be living anymore, but as you call to mind those people, and as you imagine sharing with them this experience that you're having, what would be the wisdom that they would give you? What would they tell you about yourself? What would they tell you about this situation? Some of those people just had a knack for saying the right thing. And it's amazing how if you just think about it for a moment, you can almost hear their voice telling you the answer, telling you the perspective that they would if they were with you in person. If you can give them a phone call and ask them, that's great. Do that. But sometimes we don't have that luxury to actually call somebody. So just call to mind, what would this person say to me in this situation? And sometimes it would just be their presence that would let you know what you needed to know about yourself, that you're loved, that you're accepted, that it's going to be okay. Maybe there's something that they would say to you as well that would be helpful to you in this situation. Okay. So we've gone through body sensations, feelings, thoughts, thought emotions, motion thoughts, environment, and then this mindful movement to get above the fishbowl, to observe it without judgment, as a child would look at fish in a bowl, and just notice it, and from that perspective of non-judgment, compassion, connecting with our values and our needs, connecting with our intuition, our wisdom, and those wise guides, the voices of those wise guides and what they might tell you. And after you've gone through each of these things, become more present to yourself and present to your experience and tapped into your own intuition and wisdom and perspective, I bet now if you do what you know to do now, you have the wisdom and the ability and the perspective now to have the right answer, to have a right enough answer. So now the last step is go for it. Now that you've taken all these things into account, go for it. And be yourself and live out your values to the best you know how.